Thank you for accepting our interview. So, the first question is, what are the challenges in reality that the law enforcement would encounter under Hong Kong national security law? How are the citizens coping with it? Would they get too anxious that they may cross the line? For example, some people argue that it might be too strict to arrest someone hiding a Hong Kong independence flag. What's your view on this?
I think the biggest challenge now for the government, the law enforcement agencies, in enforcing the law about national security is the long-term wrong idea about independence of Hong Kong. This wrong concept actually has been wrong since day one of Hong Kong's return to our country's sovereignty. But because there has been no law to criminalize it until recently, before the 1st of July this year, then this wrong concept has been in existence for such a long time that people need to understand now it is time not to do such wrong things again, i.e. they are breaking the law. So this change of mindset is the biggest challenge for law enforcement agencies. But I'm optimistic that the law enforcement agencies will be able to, first of all, deal with these cases, and in the long run, this wrong mindset can be changed. The national security law has been effective for less than a month. So it's obvious that people need to understand it, the police need to enforce it, and the case needs to go to court for all these messages, for all these standards to be seen, learned, and then cultivated in Hong Kong, so as to change the mindset of the Hong Kong people. To know what has been wrong for 23 years is now corrected by law to make it a criminal matter. I'm confident that with such cases being properly dealt with both by the police and the court, then eventually we will be seeing positive trend that Hong Kong society understands what national security is and the need for ensuring national security is protected for the long-term stability, peaceful life, and also prosperity of Hong Kong.
So, do the police have any plans upon violent behaviors to sabotage the fairness of LegCo elections?
Well, if anybody does anything trying to control the result of election, then such acts may contravene the election law relating to corrupt and illicit practice. That's the first thing. The second thing is, under the national security law, if somebody colludes with external forces to try to manipulate the result of election, then it will be an offense under the national security law. And if anybody plans, organizes, takes part, using illegal means so as to disrupt, interfere, or stop the discharge of duties of an institute, of the government institute, then it will be an offense as well. And the government has already said that we have received complaints of this nature. The responsible bureau and the departments will be looking into this. Where they find evidence, then appropriate action will be taken to ensure that justice is done.
And our third question is, what do you think would be helpful to rebuild the trust between citizens and the police?
Well, it is a very important question. For the past 12 to 30 months, we have seen that there have been big confrontations between rioters and the police. And a lot of people actually have been supporting violence for their political purpose. There has been smear campaign against the police. There has been false information, manipulation of information on the internet and social media to attack the police unfairly. So I admit that there is a need to mend the differences between some parts of the community with the police, despite the fact that the police has been doing an excellent job in ensuring that they enforce the law so as to maintain stability and safety for the people of Hong Kong. But I am positive in that, first of all, the society has somehow come to a much calmer situation now, so that people can better talk with natural sense about matters, rather than being overly emotional or sensational about particular political positions, thinkings, and their own objectives. What it means is, I think society is slowly getting to a stage where people can sit down and talk to each other. Although I think the exercise will be long, but the police is always keen on building up trust with the community. The police hasn't changed. It is the same police force 30 months ago in Hong Kong. Somehow things got agitated and societies are polarized. But now with the promulgation of the national security law, society has somehow come back to a much calmer situation. And so I have good faith that in the long run, through dialogue, through communication, through a common interest of building relationship, then police-community relationship will get back to normal.
Last question. Some Western countries decided to suspend extradition treaty with Hong Kong SAR. How does it impact cracking down on crime? And how would the Security Bureau respond?
Well, surrender of fugitives is an international obligation to fight organized and transnational crime. It is a United Nations resolution. It is a commitment that countries make. For countries which have unilaterally withdrawn themselves from that obligation, then they, first of all, abrogate that responsibility. Surrender of fugitives is always for mutual benefit. Any withdrawal, particularly unilaterally, is harmful to both places. So the country which withdraws themselves from such obligation have a lot to explain to their own community and also to the international community why they make use of an excuse to further their political goal and then forsake this important obligation that they should have to their own people and to the international community. We object strongly to such political maneuver, which is double standard because they make use of our Hong Kong national security law as an excuse when they have many, numerous, voluminous legislation to protect their own national security. So they have a lot to explain to their own people and to the international community and to justice as a whole.